Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching The House with the Clock at its Walls, directed by Eli Roth and starring Cate Blanchett and Jack Black. Now, it is based off a series of fantasy novels that apparently inspired several of its type in the coming decades, and it's only now that it's finally gotten a film adaptation. I haven't read the books, but I found myself to be pretty invested overall. I thought it was fairly good. Not a masterpiece by any means, but it doesn't need to be. It's a fun fantasy story that's a good family film with a few flaws here and there. Well, let's get to the story, shall we? The film is set in the 1950s when a young boy named Louis loses his parents in a car crash and has to live with his uncle Jonathan. He and the woman he lives with, named Miss Zimmerman, are actually practitioners of magical arts, and they're a warlock and a witch respectively. So, when young Louis finds out about this, he gets thrust into the magical world, where he has to gets to not only learn a bunch of spells, but also try to improve his popularity with the students in the school. But of course, other things occur. But I would not spoil them under any circumstances. So, what did I like about the film? I liked most of the magical elements of it. I don't know if they're dumbed down in comparison to the book, but the magic system at play here is actually one that's pretty simple, but also pretty believable as far as these are considered. They go from the basic parlor tricks to stuff like levitating people and causing inanimate objects to turn alive and the like. And a lot of it is based on studying lots of hard work and and acquiring certain books, which, if you had a magic system in any sort of story, it does seem like that's a proper way to do it. Not only that, but I thought most of the actors' performances were fairly good. The kid who plays Louis is occasionally kind of annoying, but he's not horrible. And in the scenes where he has to be charming, or at the very least likable enough for you to want to see win, he is that. But Jack Black and Cate Blanchett are very good in their own roles. I like their chemistry, I like the way they fight with each other, I like the various lines that they are given that are often either quite humorous or quite inspired. I think they're the ones who make the movie. And even though Eli Roth is usually known for R-rated films or films with horror elements, this is essentially his first time trying on a family film. But you can still see some horror elements in some of the creature designs and some of the edits of the film. You can clearly tell it's done with a touch of a director who knows how to make things spooky, but it's not too spooky to go above the PG rating. So if you're thinking of bringing your kids to this, I can safely say you can, and they won't have a problem with it. In fact, some parts of the film may seem like they're too much for kids. Some of the humor is really good, like some of the like I said, the way Jonathan and Miss Zimmerman fight with each other. But others seem a little too childish and there's even some cases of toilet humor. Which, I'm sorry, but when a film goes that low in an attempt to be funny, I just groan. And it's not like it's used sparingly either. It feels like there's about 6 or 7 of those jokes in the film, and none of them landed for me. Thankfully, there were enough that did land so that it wasn't a total loss. And for every scene that doesn't inspire horror or inspire intrigue, there's at least 1 or 2 that do later down the line. Now, they don't resolve everything in the film's story. I don't know if that's to build for possible sequels or because they just didn't have enough time. But it does feel like the story is a little episodic at points. But there is an overarching theme through all the story segments and enough connecting bits to make it feel like it's not just a series of shorts. So, overall, if you want a fun fantasy film that's great for little kids and maybe a few older ones, this one's a decent choice. It's not perfect, but it definitely has a charm to it. So I give The House with a Clock on its Walls a 7.5 out of 10. See you next time.